Yeah, I like them. So, okay, we're gonna start the day. So today's a good day. I think it's his turn, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay, if I'm right. But we have an hour list, so um, let's start with a prayer. 拉姐，why don't you pray for us?
Yes, Lord, I thank you for today. I thank you for your goodness towards us, Lord. I pray that our hearts and minds would be open to receive from you and hear your voice and know that you are with us, God. I pray that, Lord, in this time of change for each one of us as we continue to grow, Lord, that we would continue to form into what you are molding us to be, Lord, and that we would not resist your hand, and that we would not, Lord, fear the refining fire that you will put us through, and Lord, I pray that our hearts would be steadfast in your ways. I pray for, Lord, my brothers here, and that we would grow together. Pray that you bless our time today, as we have our meeting here and our other meetings, Lord. Bless your name.
Amen. Amen. Well, I don't want it to become a routine, so you guys help me to break the routine, or feel free to share. Feel free, especially ask questions, so yeah. We'll start with Benji today, so yeah. Elijah, if you have time, have a thing to share, just say, hey, I got something to share myself, give me 10 to 15 minutes, something later. Go ahead.
I'll just kind of tell you guys what's been up in my life.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, well, with work slowing down, and since I actually quit Gurney's, or didn't quit, but just stopped for the season.
I understand, yeah.
A few weeks ago, and work at around EVI has slowed down quite a bit too for property work and whatever. But so been focusing a lot more on school.
Oh yeah.
And on my education, which is I took a test before the school year started, before the summer, and I did fail a lot of classes, so I'm needing to definitely focus more on that. Yeah. So that's been definitely something I've been trying to.
What subject you failed?
It was actually language.
Oh, language! So, yeah, unbelievable now, so yeah.
I was focusing so much on math and all this other stuff that I forgot kind of about language.
Grammar stuff.
Yeah, grammar stuff. That's right.
Grammar can be a headache. Taking encouragement from me. I was failed my own language test. It's a grammar stuff.
Really?
Very good with math, yeah. And but at number one. Catch it up, so nice. I still feel miserable on that subject, so.
Can't be good at everything.
Yeah. It was not supposed to be. My writing skill is pretty good, so I just hate those rules. So.
Yeah,
I want to almost like the mind resisting to remember them, so you should do better. So.
But yeah, so school and work slowing down. There has been, like we talked about last time with Emma.
Oh yeah.
What had happened.
How's that young lady doing, babe?
She's doing good.
Oh yeah.
I think she's still kind of trying to understand what happened that day.
Oh.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
She definitely I know she has had some experiences with the Lord, but she just hasn't really had someone to. I mean, she has my parents, obviously.
Sure.
And my parents know what they know, right? Yeah. But others have a little bit more understanding on spiritual stuff like that.
Sure.
So
yeah.
Definitely, I think that she's still, trying to figure out what's real, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's been kind of encouraging. Definitely seeing her like that has kind of softened up our relationship, I think.
Oh, great.
It had been pretty tense before.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we've gotten to talk a few times and just kind of,
Oh,
converse a little bit.
I thought that everybody liked you, not your sisters. Okay.
Everybody liked me, yeah.
I'm joking. I'm teasing you. Okay.
But,
I think it's hard to be a big brother. Yeah. You try to be a big brother, not a friend to them. That's
exactly.
Can be a problem. So.
Yeah.
No, I learned hard lesson on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can be a brother and a friend. That's tough one. Tough one to maintain when you're young. So young relationship. So go ahead. Yeah.
And with myself, I've been definitely trying to get into more good habits in a sense, and a big thing that has been in my mind has been to just still trying to let go of my old ways. If that makes sense, my familiar ways.
That's all of us doing every day, so every season, yeah.
But yeah, that's just been a little bit of a struggle lately for me. Just kind of trying to be done with those things and kind of take up a new way, the right way. Because while I did have some right perspectives while I was practicing those ways, it just wasn't the right way. So that's been something that has been, and also just a lot of still trying to understand scriptures better and trying to take away more from that instead of just trying to read it.
Sure.
And just really trying to seek out the Lord more, because I feel like...
Can you expound that? Elaborate on that a little bit?
Like how I seek it out? Or
whatever the detail.
I don't know. I think a lot in my alone time, just when I'm by myself, I tend to just go to my phone and scroll.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of just a habit these days, but just I try to just kind of discipline myself and trying to just put it down and ask the Lord what He wants this time to be of. And
all you guys coming to age, I think you need to be mindful, discuss your parents, even with peers, about cut down social media. Social media has such a hold on young people.
Yeah, that's very true.
Your generation particularly, it's very unhealthy it can be. So it's good to share life, make a record, but despite that, to build a community, build a personality, expression personality. That is not, that's misposition social media in life, so who like it, who want to comment, decide who is really close to you. It's pretty much nurturing a perfect beautiful if we to nurture ourselves, absorb lifestyle, self-centered lifestyle. So I found a lot of people get super offended, get some excited, want to draw everyday attention. You got to pay attention to my life, so or your life, yes, it is enjoyable and important, but it's not that important. Imagine somebody have a sickness or some accident, and you decided you don't like them because you don't have time to respond to your normal life. How arrogant that, something like that. But people do that, so you get offended rather than to make a call, write a letter to develop real relationships, to show support. Especially it's toxic for young people because young people can't help it. They want attention, so the world pretty much to themselves, innocently, but innocently, the peer pressure and those kind of interaction can be very toxic, so you guys spared from the school culture, normally school culture, peer competition, whatever, but you're not necessarily spared from the social culture in the new norms, which is a whole society now, actually don't know how to handle it. It's like, let me explain to you. Used to, only have a revolution those things. Can I give a rundown a little bit of history? Used to, in the Middle Ages, called the Dark Age. Why I call it Dark Ages? Because nobody really can read it. Most of the population is illiterate. Okay, so they can't read. So to have books and able to read, that's almost mark you out among thousands, right? This guy can read. He can write his own name, man. So he can sign his signature. You don't grow up with that. That's how I grew up. People around me, many people cannot even sign the signature. My mom don't know how to read. Okay, so yeah. My dad only had 2 years education. Therefore, they poured their heart to encourage us to be educated. They would do everything. Education for us, in their eyes as parents, is a secret thing. As long as you hold a book, doesn't matter what you're doing. This thing is a good thing because they can't do that. So, my mom, seriously. So. My father, even better, he learned to read and counting, all kinds of stuff for himself. But still, there's a lot of self intimidation. The natural intimidation, right? So to them, when we grow up, we become more knowledgeable. Like your age, I become a little bit informed. You will ask history, discuss things, but you can feel the subject matter really confined with the literature, some history stuff. As our subjects, he don't know the help, so therefore I never asked either, so it's by yourself. But in the process, as you getting more and more quote and the education is smarter, then doing better, the parents will feel intimidated, so intellectually speaking. However, I never acting out as a smart ass, whatever it calls. You don't like the words. No, it's but I was just excited with learning sometimes, excited with the topic, so. And so I had a good time with my father discussing, share certain things while working in the field. But as you grow up, I remember getting college years, you become more and more arrogant, just because you in college. Naturally, the students in college in China, it's very seldom go to college, out of 10,000. So I went to good college. So carry the natural intimidation already to people who don't have college education, and carry this little, whatever. This social people just look at you differently, making sense to you. So anyway, it goes on and on, and that is not healthy, So, and then it's eventually parents somehow has to confront you. That happened when I become a little bit good manager. They began to confront me a little bit. I reckon, oh my God, lost a little bit basic touch of what life is about. So. Anyway, back to you. So.
Thank you. So yeah, that just trying to. Well, it's not even trying to. Like, I feel definitely more of a desire to seek out him. As of lately, just out of my own desire to want him more,
Yeah.
Instead of just a discipline.
Yeah.
But.
And your parents play a huge influence over that.
They do.
So, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Yeah. Other than that, I've just been, a lot of I definitely see one of the things in our group just how much change there has been, because I know.
You mean young people?
Or everyone. Just,
everyone.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Just
okay.
God's people.
Give me some observation there, so
Yeah.
I can keep on some.
Before, just like I knew that His people were, being shaped and still formed, But as of lately, I've just like really started to see that, if that makes sense. Just even in Tim, in the way he speaks, in the way that he, in the things that he shares, it just feels really like
impactful. Yeah.
And it really like it comes out to me as just a lot more meaningful, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just me, but I've definitely felt, even in you, in the way that, in the topics and the things, it just feels like the Lord is definitely like moving in you guys and all of us to start taking steps towards His kingdom.
Yeah.
So that's been really exciting to see. And definitely.
I think your parents more and more settled in hearts in the community. Also, they begin to the Bible talk about this, eyes open, and I will taking the wisdom for that. Therefore, it means new perspective looking things. So in the past, maybe distractions or the own way of looking things. Now they come through association, through fellowship.
Right.
And they're able to see, oh yeah, this guy's me talking something actually real and something meaningful. So, they're not trying to go to the grinder whether this is good or not. I understand. That's always taking process, So but I think they really feel belong in the community. That's make a huge difference there. So yeah. And you have been instrumental for that introduction settlement. So
Something also encouraging in their lives that I've seen. Before, I was talking to my dad, and I think he talked to you about it too, that he was really struggling on how to pray to the Lord.
Oh yeah? Okay.
And just after a few meetings ago, I just really have seen, his heart being poured out as he praises and just prays for the Lord.
Bless the Lord.
It's really cool.
A lot of joy come to him recently.
Definitely.
A lot of burden.
He knows the words to speak, the words to pray.
Yeah.
And what to pray for, which is awesome. Definitely seeing my mom too.
Oh yeah. These are people who are decent with their feelings, with their thoughts. That's precious. Yeah. Always enjoyed the praying actually. So. Because it came from the heart, so not from the soul per se. So so we're measured with what they pray, so it's good. Bless the Lord. Bless the Lord.
But other than that, there's nothing that really I have to share else.
Okay. Can I get in the nitty-gritty of it? Okay. You said you have reading the Bible differently. How so? Give me the understanding.
Well, I think I've said it before, but when I read, I just have been kind of in the same way that I've been desiring the Lord, just kind of not trying to discipline myself to do it because I have to, but just coming out of a spirit that is wanting to, willing to just sit and read and listen for the Lord. And something that I've been trying to also put into practice is when I want to read the Bible, I just gonna ask the Lord for a verse to start off with. Also, I've been trying to read the life of King David.
Oh wow!
Because I've been recommended by a lot of people actually that his life would be a good testimony for me to read about, and I definitely think so.
Yeah.
That's been cool too.
There's a book I went through called The Life of David Through the Psalms. Do you have that book?
No.
Yeah, it's a free actually.
Really?
Yeah, we read it actually together. I think it's online, so
I'll have to look it up.
It's a free EPUB PDF. It's really old book, but one of the best
A good one.
best expositioner of the Bible. So, as far as I'm concerned,
Cool.
yeah, the best.
Is it like a?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a downloaded book or?
Well, you can download a book. You can. I think you can listen to them as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'll definitely have to look.
Yeah, I think you should form a reading club. Do nothing, not on the chat. Just let's read book together.
That's exciting.
Over the phone,
Mm.
Skype, whatever. That's what I do with no one. So just reading book together.
That's good.
Then don't even discuss it because the other times discuss, but don't get scattered. Try to stick to regime of reading. Now reading, you got to be slow.
Yeah.
There's certain books can be what you need to learn a subject, whatever, you just process through it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Certain book you just need to actually pace yourself because books can be for different purpose to be read. Some are mastering informational skills, some are really learn to think, to meditate.
Mm-hmm.
So the books for that purpose is to learn how people think, how to learn people how to meditate on things, learn wisdom. Take time.
Yeah.
You can't absorb 10 wisdom at the same time. Try to apply it in 1 week, right? It doesn't work like that. So you can learn something like that, like basics like that. But you can never build a rocket by just mastering the skill. Think you can do it because certain people can. So they're super smart. But I don't think life wisdom can be absorbed in such a way. So what happened, God with me is when I have wisdom, He's teaching, it's almost like He threw everything at me. Everywhere I go, it's just the same thing. Literally, it's not you. There's always a perception bias, am I? You pay attention to something that's heightened things, that's norm. But for me, it's objective. I'm talking about, God really is doing it.
Yeah.
So it's not imaginative you doing it, am I? So, but literally He's doing it,
Yeah.
So, for example, this morning I look at the news. It's Apply Day, Apply is a star. Coming said it's right now with Mars, with moons line up. No, I have no idea. The Lord told me to learn all the scripture in the Bible week ago and share with everybody about Apply Day. Apply Day is meaning a new dawn. I have no idea. It's showing on the horizon means a new age or new dawn, whatever. So I have no idea, So, but he said, hey, study the scriptures. Study what Apply Day is. I have no idea. We're gonna happen literally today. Happening on the horizon, up to Jupiter, right? So, and it's news, So it's like that kind of learning make you more than knowledgeable things. Really, just oh my God, this is really God. What is up to, right? So, for sure, it's more than information or or merging together, conversion together, different phenomena, whatever. So, in the mind, learning the Bible, then literally having the heavenly sign, right? So, that's normal for me. It's not really, but the point is, when God shared that, He said something. He said something. He said this means something spiritually. I will show to you. He told me while I'm pay attention to the scriptures, learn the word. He said, this is a sign. Pay attention to it. Pay attention to it. You can't elaborate on that. It's beyond words, So, then things begin to line up. You just like, what? I don't know, but I found the scriptures out of random. I don't remember how many scriptures about applied. I don't do reference research either, It just randomly just showed up, So 3 places. And so I was saying, oh my God, what is this about? I don't even know the whatever, the star or whatever. very much. I had to read a lot about it. Still don't know much about it. The point is not the information. The point is a pointer for something that is real. It's not a phenomenon. Then you can look at things happening to you. You know your life is not of your own perception, your own flow, your own management. So someone is sorry, someone cares in your minute and seems very spontaneous, sometimes maybe even foolish, and even sinful ways. God said, as much as that it seems random, meaningless to you, but because I have intended to have a relation with you, I want you to come to reserve for another realm of existence. I want to commit with you, you know. More than that, I will use you to do things I want to do. Now that is a testimony of David's life. He was more than a shepherd boy when he was shepherding. But nobody would think he just went to the land and go out shepherding people, shepherding sheep, right? And for David it was different, especially when he looked at it, you know, in the court, shepherding the God's people, you know, looking at the history where he was carried by God's promise to his day, right? So from Abraham. Oh my God. So when I was 8, 12 years old, one around, you know, innocently, just being a boy, right? A country boy. And that actually means a lot. You know, when I fed off the animals, oh my God, that actually, it's God intended to build up my character, courage. You know, so in the private quarters, you see, for the man of God, private life is something we have to learn self-discipline, right? So we all falter, sin. But in essence, the inspiration of the heart, the vision of life has to be nurtured in the private, you know. So whether you be inspired by others, you like by others, you have to take the stock yourself to develop it, right? You know, so even Jesus said, I cast a seed in you. But the fruition, you had to nurture it, right? So you had to have the right heart, right? The field, right?
Right.
Not the rocky place, not the dry place, not the thorny place. You have to nurture that. So it's a nurture good thing in life, good wisdom in life. Give time to it. Really thinking about it. Meditate, that we say. Meditate on it day and night. Well, you hear a masterpiece of music, if you're new to music, you was just like, oh my God, that's like remember every day, you know. So, or fancy a girl, you can't get rid of it. Right, you know, from the poem, just can't help to recite it, right? So, make sense here, you know. So, from the, if you, whatever you like, you know, it's just oh my, I want to learn how to draw, I want to learn how to paint, I learn how to play the music. You seem enamored about it. I remember when I was young, I was fancy about a certain literatures, in the love story, especially in novels. Oh my God, I can't help, you know, just read, how to fit the story. And read day and night, can't get, you know. Anyway, it just can't help, you know, so enamored by it. That was David said. When you found something so precious to God, and you love it, treasure it, his wisdom of counsel are precious, like more precious than gold and silver, right? And it's gold and silver is very hard to get around. Today we have different idea what the gold and silver is. Gold and silver in the ancient days is very hard to even encounter. People maybe think it's everywhere because the movie made it. It's so untrue. A whole village maybe never see a goat, you know, because they're so precious, it's so rare, you know. That's my point, you know. Just like a book, right? It's so rare. Make sense here? I lost track, and my apologies about reading and the literature around our histories, and I'm going to wrap it up with you a little bit. So when there are no books, it's very hard to understand things. So I grew up with that. So I grew up with different stages. So I understand history when I read history. Understand that the people live under that predicament was really felt, was really being disabled of. So in the 15 something, when books not printed, the Bible was not. They were sermons and they called harmonies was delivered in Latin, literally a dead language for the popular. So the people just like it's literally somebody speak any language, gibberish, right? The priests in the sermon, okay. So all the people don't know anything. They don't know the books. They don't have anybody tell them otherwise, and they listen to somebody speaking a totally alien language they have no idea about. Do you believe that? How Catholic has, that's why the Dark Ages, Catholics are the sin against people, against God tremendously, out of fear of the people for control. Rather than enable people, to teach people, disciple people, they have tried to make people illiterate, ignorant. Terrible sin. Now, moreover, if you have the Bible in your home, you'll be killed. So, thinking about it. So the fear of even have the book, touch the book, only the priest, no designated person called the readers, whatever, can touch the book. You can't read the detail. The main theme, I don't think I'm misrepresenting here, okay? So then there is no printing, okay? They have to use scribes. Nobody can think about it. That's why they are scribe libraries, manuscripts, because everybody has to write it, So as a particular skill sets in order to copy a book without much mistake, error, right? So you can imagine, you can only copy one copy, how many people can pass it? When you have one copy, you want to seal off, treasure, you want to just anybody touch it, right? A father not going to easily share with his son, thinking like that. Pass on school is the most treasured possession you can have. Better than gold or silver, indeed. You understand? That's where it came from. The Word of God is more precious than gold or silver because the book or the scroll is more treasure, much treasure than anything you own. That's how they regard information knowledge those days. Understandably so. Nobody have a copy. You remember the sea was buried in the deep caves in order to be spared of fire or tragic things of life. Because the treasure, they don't bury gold or silver. Why they don't? They bury the scrolls. Think about it. So then printing press came around, thankfully. Then people began to say, you know what, we can publish some essays, some because theses, those kind of things. That's when Martin Luther came around. Then academic come around. They say we can set some monks to just study the word, Word. So it's Martin Luther from Augustinian tradition. Then the papers, there are people privately can print things these days. Then they print some essays, or essays we call them, and people to read it. Now in those days, everything on the paper is good. Especially when you talk about the God. It's not like today you can talk this, look at different opinions. No, nobody have information, so that's why it's catch up like a wildfire when new idea came around. A sermon, everybody would, man, I was not able to attend the sermon, but the sermon is printed, Yeah, that's later on called the preacher, the prince preacher of sermons, Charles, I forgot his name. Charles Spurgeon, see, yeah. the sermon is printed on the morning paper all day, you know. Everybody read his sermons, you know, so. Anyway, so you understand the printing press was a main tool, now, the driving force for information, for education. You know, books, papers, all kinds of things. The American Revolution greatly driven by the printing press because it populated, so political policy discussion become an everyday thing, you know. Everybody knows about it, read it, they talk about it, you know. So, and that's the culture of the day. Now fast forward. Okay, we have a phone invented. Then eventually we have a radio invented. That is a revolutionary. I'm talking about communication tools. We don't think about it. How it had tremendously fundamentally shaped human behavior and culture. That's very simple. Everybody know about it, but they don't think about it, don't apply it. So radio changed everything. Radio at the time was like a Great Depression. President FDR, you know FDR, right? The guy saved the nation out of depression, Great Depression. Roosevelt, FDR Roosevelt, he has this amazing ability of communicating, but it was most radio. He's called a fire talk by the fireplace. You know, talk by the fireplace, because a person who is half disabled, right? He cannot walk. So instead, he's sitting in the wheelchair. He will give a broadcast by the fireplace as a president, talking about, like today, broadcasting news. You know, talking about the relevant topic, and that inspired the whole nation. Because that he was very famous, not famous, very much a central figure for leadership for the free world these days. Now that being said, Hitler come around, almost try to challenge the Western democratic camp, right? And that's my point, you know. So, and then England was in great period those days, you know, last nation standing, the European nations. And there was another character rise up, that's Winston Churchill. Again, you know, his speeches, sometimes presentations as prime minister was broadcast through radio to the whole nation, to the free world as well. It's become so inspirational. We'll shall fight on the beaches, you know, so we'll never surrender, you know, so. And he was one of the great orators, and but inspires the nation, you know, literally, eventually, saves the nation. Talking about the communication. And radio in the 1560 continued to be the dominant voices, you know, like today's podcast. More important than TV and broadcast, you know, because it only means everybody listens to it. So now that being said, fast forward, TV come aboard. And TV board is a different story, right? So, and the news broadcasting began to spread out, and there were different branches, but still, it's a big thing, you know, news broadcasting thing. Anyway, fast forward, internet age. In the beginning, just emails, sharing web pages, share catalogs, share information, right? So now suddenly recognize, oh my, it can be a social media platform. It can build online communities. And then the centralization and the oversight for information sharing, dissemination is gone. I don't try to essay talk history your day. You are in a very like a Western world, you know, when marking on the not the West world, when you go to the West, Wild West, right? You live in a very unlawful time, information wise, a lawless time. Yes, there's many regulations, there's many protocol, many technical or governmental controls, whatever. But actually, in reality, social media becomes a wild west. Everything goes, sometimes. So, do you understand the wild west? There's no rules. No real rules. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, lawless.
Lawless, right?
Yeah.
So, everyone is important, right? So, the culture and the profound impact over society. In the middle of it, nobody have a ability to stand outside, let's see, 100 years later, look at today. How impact, what happened to society. Now, radio, newspaper, other improvement, advancement of technology in terms of communication, dissemination information, has played a very positive role in society. As much as it is sometimes being used wrongly, misused. But in general, the dissemination information are positive, and garnering consensus, try to educate people, try to want to build a community together, hold people together, right? Not today. Most of the stuff through social media and personal expression are personal stuff. The more freedom, the more you do it, the more individualized you are, the more divided you are, the more fractured you are. And there's no consensus anymore. The consensus is built on word unfounded, unprincipled, sometimes totally unhealthy, right? Even evil interest or groupings. Making sense to you? So literally the government and the whole society lost control of it. There's no consensus, no standard anymore. And you are in that sweeping of this evil flood. It's unbridled flood. That's my point. You may think it's enjoyable, good. I'm not trying to intimidate you. Okay? I'm saying if you have collective mind, understand history of it, you will have the ability to withstand. So okay, I need to draw from this. Yeah. Let me share something. If you're a teacher, you're a parent, that's the first thing you want to bring some discipline to the young people. But your age, it's new, so it's still, the impact has not really known. The common prejudice, I would consider serious prejudice, that's freedom of speech, freedom of personality, freedom of chosen, right? So this all sounds good. But that's good when you're on the oppressive regime. People don't rob your personality, but not on the place where everything goes, right? Let me give you a simple example. You go to school, you have different message board, you have different people talking with things, right? And that's my point. That's still good. It's class, it's school. I'm just give you a simple picture. You still things argue. You're still in a certain principle way, right? Certain framework. Now, if you have bad students there doing drugs, all kinds of bad stuff, literally on the carbon, outside, oversight, and the restraint of parents or school authority, whatever the word, teachers, whatever. They're doing their own bad stuff, right? It's partying or whatever. That's today's world, right?
Yeah.
Terrible, right? How much that they were taking on people in school world? 80%, 90%? The parents and the authority or the teacher figure literally ceded their influence over the life, am I? Literally don't have a say and restraint over young people's life, even in the school. Think about it. Even in the school. We're talking about the school. You understand my point? 90% you can't have a, if you do something, they will tell you try to control people. I already know that those things are needed and can be very helpful for this lawless, right? Individualistic, way of doing things. That's why your parents are wise enough to shed you away from those influence. But those fashions, those pressure still goes on. The dominating said, hey, don't tell me what to do with my private grouping, with my private information. Don't touch my privacy, right? So that's word true. You need to have a balance, you know. But to let those things wrong totally out of whack, literally disable the teacher, helpful people, parents from your life, where the time in your age, in adolescent age, is the most needed and most beneficial. And that's driven today is in the social media world. I don't think the parents in general, although they talk about it, but this spouse is victim of it or participant of it. They actually stirred up sometimes. They don't understand that culture is unruly. Nobody have bad intention, but the reality that is like an evil flood, am I? Not evil flood, let's say some flood you can't control, am I? And carry every way. That's what I'm understanding. I would advise you as young people, if you invest some part of it, you tell me they can't get rid of the fun and stuff like that. I don't think you're talking about some healthy stuff all the time. Social media stuff, something, you know, so you need to really pay attention. So, you know, so like, there's healthy things posted, but don't look all the comments, where the posts who did this, who did that. Where their life is not that important. At least on the social media parts. The accent, they have birthday party, there are other things. You know, that's the important location. I want to build a healthy relation with you. I'm going to participate in those things. But the social media, this, you go to the beach, have a picture, whatever. You know, you like this bug, who cares, man? Try to be belittled and enjoyable, but your life, everybody have their life every day going on. That's literally endless attention distraction. You're lost in that. Your time, your energy cannot spend on the rightful things, and right? So when you're young, you can't help. There's a thing your parents have to tell you. Your parents, you may fight. Or you need to appreciate your parents' intervention in those things, even monitor those things. Because that's urgent needed, you know. It's terrible if we spend most of the time just doing that, rather than learn subjects, have a healthy things, you know. Spend the time you want to really build a relationship, write them a letter. Share the poem. You know, study a subject together. Go out, go to the beach, have a walk, you know, talk about life. I'm not dismissing social media as where helpful can be, okay? We're good platform for expressiveness, but it also can be a very much a distraction with substitution of the true person, true relationships. That I will try to address. Making sense to you, Elijah? Yeah, so it's addictive sometimes. So if you become addicted, that's sometimes you need to really pay attention to it, you know, so make it sense to you, you know, so okay, then you cut off. Abstaining from it for a while. See the impact already. Do it a week. Okay, I have to shut everything down. See what my life look like. If you're not off balance, your emotion, your things don't really get agitated. Then it means you're not addicted to it, right? So, you know, depends on it. If it really feels like morning coffee, then do it not. Then something is terribly wrong, you know. So I understand that because I went through a little bit myself, innocently. Those days, social media is not pervasive like today, even. But I found it so distracted. There's many friends out there. I don't want to know every detail what's going on in their life. That's their life. Enjoyable, wonderful. But I don't want to let them pace my life. You know, especially on the social media, it's not real life.
It's a representation of what you want people to think you are.
Exactly. It's the most of a facade. Can I use that word? I'm not so sure. So it's a false personality. Persona. What do you do is like this today. Talking hard, talking real stuff. Address hard topics, having in-depth discussion, solid discussion. That's how relation is built. That's how relation is really built. I'm sorry, I didn't give you much time. I think it's good to land on that topic. For a certain time, it's okay, but not when you're getting your age. It's the time you really need to discern the influences from outside. All today, nobody see it wrong. Well, until 15 years later, we see the impact. Again, I will give you a qualifier. Before that, the liberation and advancement for dissemination information, the information most likely is helpful and healthy. And also go through a filter, a consensus. Making sense to you? There's a moral standard. There's a standards that's helpful for society, right? Making sense to you? Not today. Today is most individual centered, self-interest centered. This totally without filter, without not about censorship, okay? I'm talking about without any standard, without too much standard. So that is not freedom. That is chaos. So the impact, this liberation, this movement in terms of social media, we look at the history was said that's where human society began to go through downfall. Because the moral standard, consensus began to be relayed, and emphasis of personal expression, personal freedom. Personal freedom is not freedom in the end of the day if it lead you to a destructive way of life, right? So to an unhealthy relationship with others, unhealthy values, standard for society. What is good? What is bad? If we're the center of everything, we can never be have a balanced life, right? So I decide what is right or wrong. That's by nature it's a recipe for disaster. Not within society, first personally speaking. That's called a young child, that's called a spoiled child, right? You have a person grow up like that, narcissistic. The word called narcissistic. You're the center of everything. You gotta be checked. So you got to be yield to a certain good standard for we need to go. So, but I do want you to pray. Benji, I hope I don't cast you in a critical light in this life. Just come of age, this topic come naturally, come to. I'm glad you draw other topics. You're asking, I'll give you a high rundown. This can be essay. Actually, your parents are supposed to do that for you. Not my job. I'm joking with this. But now understand, you want your parents to say, parents, can you help me because I have this problem? Rather than fighting, you too, okay? When your parents said, hey, get off the phone. Don't first say, hey, it's my time. No. Maybe they know you better and understand your way is better and have a better vision for your life. Amen. Especially this formative years, right? So that's a good reminder. Thank them for that. Yeah. Put away rather than take on emotional fight. The first is what? In the emotional level. That's what they tell me that. Well, you eat their dinner, they don't tell you, they don't ask you what food you prefer. I'm not gonna cook for you. They first sure want to entertain you with dinner. They're gonna let you to tell them how to cook, right? What the food they're gonna make. So why you don't find that? Mom, why you don't ask me what kind of flavor I want? What kind of I want rice or noodle? Why you don't ask me about dinner? That's a chaos. Your mom would say, what about me? What about your dad? What about your sisters? You see, That's your choice. You opted out and said, I'm not going to exert my own opinion, my emotional attachment, because that is a healthy way to do family life. You know, I'm just going to yield to that, whether I like the dinner or not tonight. But I'm not going to throw an emotional fist. We have emotional resistance. Understand that's a part of life. So give up this one. Give up certain things for the benefit. Somebody knows better how to arrange it. You know, if you eventually do that, your mom finally said, get your own grocery, cook your own dinner, eat at your own room. Oh, you understand what I mean? Right? I'm just joking. Certain children find like that. You are foolish. How healthy. They need to be